we all know that we got to be ready by at least 2033.
Yep.
So
We don't know the day or the hour, but man, do we know the year and the month. Desensitize yourself to violence.
and all those little anti-Mormons, as soon as shiz hits the fan, they're like, I have a testimony of Joseph Smith. Like, they're straight up going to be running back into that cultural hall, asking for the frickin' funeral potatoes, taking out their 15 piercings in their nose, and dyeing their hair back to the color it should be.
Be a good runner. I guess. Did you know there's an app you can get that will simulate the sound of zombies getting closer to you as you run? And so, like, as part of it, to keep pace as you're running. My advice, the key things that I think you can do to best outlast the apocalypse is live the freaking gospel.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Midnight Mormons. I am your host, Cardinellis, and today I'm joined in the studio by Kwaku L, Brad Whitbeck, and Ed Thomas, Russell M. Nelson's personal bodyguard. And whether you like it or not, this is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And at the end of the latter days, there's going to be the apocalypse. It is coming, and you better prepare. And we've got some very experienced individuals here to tell you exactly how to make it through these this preparatory time.
Just look at how Kwaku is dressed. He has seen things.
Yeah.
He has seen things.
I've seen them. I know it's coming.
That's funny. Okay, so who wants to take this one first? How to prepare with the Midnight Mormons for the apocalypse? Go, Brad.
I just want to start off by saying I'm glad we're feeding everyone the ammunition that they need against us. Like, these are just crazy prep. Yeah. Here we are. Okay. So I just want to know what everyone's best tips are for apocalypse prep. You know, like what is it? What are the main things that you need to be doing? What do you think you should be doing in order to be ready for the end of times?
Okay. Now, are you just thinking the end of times, like the legit end of times?
Yeah.
Or are you just thinking the calamities that have been foretold that we know are going to happen?
Both. I mean, like, I think the most likely one right now is economic collapse, right? You see inflation rising like crazy, and they've changed the way that they're doing the numbers. So they're like, oh, inflation's not that bad. It's like, yeah, it's actually really bad, Janet Yellen. What the freak are you doing? But I think economic collapse is the most likely one that I'm seeing. But no matter what it is, we're just talking when society collapses, how do you survive?
Look, I have lived through the LA riots, okay?
Yeah.
Basically urban warfare. I've lived through the Los Angeles fires, natural disaster, insanity. Mm-hmm. I've lived through the earthquake before the levees broke in Louisiana. The Northridge quake, 6.8 on the Richter scale, was the most expensive natural disaster in American history that cut off everybody's water mains and was literally like apocalyptic problems with freaking like looting and crazy stuff like that. When the thin veneer of civilization is torn, shall we say, okay?
Yeah.
So in my lifetime, a lot of these measures that people take, which we jokingly say are for the actual millennial apocalypse, have become quite useful in a lot of the mini man-made ones in the meantime. So you might as well just prep for the latter so that when the former happens, boom shakalaka, you're ready. Unless, Kwaku, you have some additional insight here as to when Jesus comes.
No, we all know that we got to be ready by at least 2033.
Yep.
So
We don't know the day or the hour, but man, do we know the year and the month.
No, here's what I think. I think if you're going to live in a place to prepare for the apocalypse, you may as well live in a place that has its own like built-in breakaway government in case shiz hits the fan. There's another central leader with
breakaway
a lot of
government.
Yeah.
Like Hong Kong, like getting ready to
no,
secede?
like Utah. As soon as the Utah state government fails, oh no! If only there was another government that ran the state with a leader and a body of representatives and buildings all over the state. Utah is the perfect place to be. And all those little anti-Mormons, as soon as shiz hits the fan, they're like, I have a testimony of Joseph Smith. Like, they're straight up going to be running back into that cultural hall, asking for the frickin' funeral potatoes, taking out their 15 piercings in their nose, and dyeing their hair back to the color it should be. Like, it's crazy how that's gonna happen. Second, get in
Saying
shape.
yes, brother and sister Smith.
You're like, okay, do you want to be eaten by the wolves and the mobsmen coming in from Las Vegas?
Okay, so what's your second thing?
Be in shape.
Oh,
That's actually a really good take.
Zombieland. What did Zombieland teach us?
Zombieland.
The overweights do not last in the apocalypse. Get in shape.
I like how you just said the overweights. Like, the
What
number
kind of
one thing we
designation?
learn in sensitivity training in like junior high is don't say the and then almost any demographic out there, or else it just sounds like an absolute pejorative.
No, I'm
and then
doing them
here's Kwaku saying
I'm doing them
the
a favor.
overweights.
I'm doing them a favor because we coddled and lied with the body positive movement, and people are dying of heart disease.
Okay.
So we need to call it what it is.
Are you positive that they won't last longer by virtue of more storage?
Yeah, no, of course they won't. Wait, no, not even a little bit.
You do
More
have 100.
storage.
You
It's
do
not
have
like they're
100,000.
U-Hauls.
Okay, what's he doing is he's referencing the fat on the body, and you have 100,000 calories of burnable and accessible in your fat reserves. They can last you up to 40 days, the average person. So as long as you got enough water and 40 days to burn, you could stay alive, brother.
Yeah. What about when the mob is chasing you
Yeah.
and you can't run?
Well, we occasionally have in the Angeles forest right above us a hiker, an obese hiker, who is lost for 14 days, who's found alive and very thin, but in relative terms healthy if they get close to a place where they can get some water.
So here we have Russell M. Nelson's personal bodyguard endorsing mild obesity in order to survive.
You see when Nelson became prophet, how all the apostles lost weight? Do you see that?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
I know there's a meeting here. It's like, brothers, you are overweights. Like, I just know he did it. Okay. Second,
Yeah, you
third,
should see the brethren in their one piece collar to knee swimsuits.
Shut up, really?
What? Do they have this?
They have those?
I might not be able to talk about this. They're
Like Borat?
black and white stripes. I just think it's a carryover from
The 30s?
30s flapper.
Oh yeah, these are older
Okay.
guys.
Yeah.
Well, third is
Okay,
going to be
third.
this. You're going to want to have weapons. Okay, so you could pull the my style.
I'm just waiting for you, like and fourth, cannibal recipes. Like, what are you going with this?
I will say this. I'll eat my neighbors.
I will eat my neighbors.
I will.
I'll admit it.
You think I like sizing up my neighbor?
I'm literally looking at my neighbors now and going, I'm ready to hang them up and gut them and skin them and chop them up. And you know what? I'm ready. My daughters aren't starving to death. I'll eat my neighbors.
Hey, by
I'm
the
gonna
way,
haul him up by a chain and chop his ass up.
Oh
now,
my God.
have you chosen which one would be most tasty? Because I got to say, Ed, I don't think would be a very good meal.
No.
You know, Brad would be tastier than Ed. You're just like a little French fry. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my
You'd be like a
gosh.
nice little morsel, maybe in
they
the
wouldn't be
morning.
able to catch me.
You know,
No, seriously, look at World War II. All the World War II soldiers, where everyone thinks, oh, I need to get super huge and jacked for the apocalypse. You don't.
You just need to get fast.
You need to get fast. You need to have a little bit of muscle. World War II soldiers were like a little bigger than me. Some of them are just my size. That's all you need.
I
That's
saw
all you
a
need.
video of this the other day, actually. Someone, it was like a Navy SEAL or something, who was like, here is the number one tactic you can use in a knife fight. And then he's like, getting ready, and then they like pan over to the guy with the knife, and then you just hear and then turn, and he's just booking it. He's like almost out of frame. Like, it was great.
that's funny.
Yeah, so running, be a good runner. I
Yeah.
guess. Did you know there's an app you can get that will simulate the sound of zombies getting closer to you as you run? And so, like, as part of
I don't like
to
that.
keep pace as you're running,
don't
it
like
will
that at all.
have the zombies getting closer.
Wait, are you kidding me? There's an app for that?
Yeah, and so
That is insanity.
it'll just like make it so that you have like this apocalypse scenario as you're running like prep.
Yeah,
It's
as your
hilarious.
bloodstream fills with cortisone and just bathes your brain in stress-inducing. Oh, that
Your
sounds
adrenaline's
heinous.
gonna spike. Yeah.
So, and these are all
Okay,
these-
weapons
Well,
though.
let me
Weapons.
So do what I'm gonna do. AR-9, Glock 9, same bullets. You don't have to worry about which goes where.
Dude,
Brrr, and boom, boom, boom. Okay, you got both. You knock them out.
Yeah, actually, you stole the words right out of my mouth. But
Same magazine too, right? Yeah.
there's two things that I was going to interject here. First off, your health and fitness, Kwaku, actually has precedent. Watch The Walking Dead, and what happens when the group in the second season finally makes it to the jail and they meet the chick with the katana. You know what I'm saying? Chick with the dreads and the katana. I forgot her name. Misha. Shoot, I can't remember her name. But anyway, she's totally cool, and she's got it's not a katana, whatever the samurai sword is. Anyway, she in the first scene is still doing crunches every morning to maintain fitness and flexibility.
Like
so that
I
she
Am
can-
Legend, right?
Yeah, exactly. Oh
So
yeah.
I love
I Am
how
Legend.
what we are talking about right now are purely fictional, like Zombieland, The Walking Dead, I Am Legend.
Mine aren't. Here's what I'm saying.
No, I've got some legit.
Oh,
stats
World
here,
War
though.
II. World War II was
Yeah.
a good one.
And the last
happened. That
the
was
last
real.
two are
It's
the
not
most
fiction.
important ones.
Well, do you want to do your last two, or
Yeah, I'll do my last two.
Okay,
Because
hit
these are
yours.
not you're not going to think of these. These
Okay.
are like ones I've really contemplated for quite a while.
Okay.
Okay.
If you feel like it's coming, because obviously there's the normal stuff. Get all your food, get all your water, get like a storage place for it. Have like an underground bunker. All that's the easy stuff. These two things. Watch a lot, and I mean a lot of horrific, graphically violent films.
What, to prep yourself for
Yeah.
the horrors of war? Like
Yeah.
What the heck, Quick? What kind of advice is that?
If you're some guy who's only ever seen The Best 2 Years and frickin' Moana, and then you walk outside and you see people's heads getting ripped off, you're gonna freak out. But if you've seen it and you can turn yourself into a hardened veteran beforehand, you're gonna be like, I've been waiting for you. And second,
And then you'd start eating your neighbors, right?
Exactly.
Like, what kind of movies are you suggesting we watch?
I've been watching
Quick?
cannibalism videos on repeat for 3 years. I know exactly where your veins are.
I'm telling you, if you go in cold turkey, it's gonna be horrific. But if you've seen enough movies where people are dying, you can kind of prep yourself for it a little bit. And second,
Is playing Halo with the blood on not enough?
I've never played it.
Oh, okay.
Or Call of Duty.
I think most people that have served missions in third world countries have probably seen enough crazy shiz that they've been prepped for some.
So desensitize yourself to violence.
Yes,
is
absolutely.
Quaker's tip number
And the
4.
last one,
Yeah.
join a battalion or some armed group of men who all have each other's back.
So
okay.
that is
Wouldn't that be
actually
your elders quorum? You know?
that is actually almost a little bit related to my advice.
It's a really good one too.
So
though.
it is. So my advice, the key things that I think you can do to best outlast the apocalypse is live the freaking gospel. If you are loving God and loving your neighbor, if you're doing those two things right, you're going to be fine. Because, like, think about it. If you love your neighbor and you actually get to know your neighbors, you're going to recognize you should move far away from Kwaku because he's going to eat you. And you'll recognize...
I will.
Air 5, low 5 for Brad on that one.
And what you'll realize is, like, if you get to know your neighbors, you'll get to know the skill sets that you all have. You'll get to know what kind of things you can be doing to help support each other so that when your community is collapsing, you don't form into a mob immediately in your neighborhood because you all know each other and you start to develop a plan. Like you're saying, Kwaku, with join a battalion, make the battalion out of your neighbors. Get to know the people
Yeah.
around you
I agree.
and get to know, like, hey, okay, we all have like enough food storage and water storage to be able to cover each other for like 2 or 3 weeks and figure out what we can be doing so you can actually support each other well. Because
Well,
I think if you're loving your neighbor appropriately in the way that the gospel should be, in the way that you should be living the gospel, you'll all band together naturally and you don't need to worry about your community collapsing on a micro level.
So you're suggesting that the second coming is really just going to be a block party with black powder.
And my neighborhood, in my neighborhood, it's going to be.
So
I'm
Ed,
going
really
far out.
fast.
I'm going to like Midway, Vernal. I'm going to somewhere
I was
far
waiting
out.
for you to just be like, I'm going to go way far out. I'm going to go to like Springville. I'm going to go to Orem.
Or like Manti, like a place like that. I want to have a big
Dude, the
piece of land.
Manti Temple is a straight up strategically. I mean, imagine trying to storm that hill to get to whatever resources and people are in the Manti Temple, knowing that there's thick limestone behind it that nothing can penetrate. You would need a tank battalion.
I legitimately thought of the battles at Manti, and I hope it doesn't sound like a psychopath. But look, all I'm saying is,
Oh no!
This is the first time you've said that on our show, Quake.
I have thought about people. Look, just because I'm I have thought about war and how to protect. Like I've extrapolated this out from many, many different directions. And you would think, okay, if I'm in a temple, I'm prime target. Oh no. You see, you're assuming you're going to be inside of the Manti Temple and the mob is me coming up to the temple. What you have to do is just go on top and snipe down. And suddenly, all the people, because it's the highest thing in that freaking county.
Oh,
and
then you're the LA riot roof Koreans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can see all of basically San Pete County. So when they come up, you are freaking taking them out left and right. And then right above the Manti Temple, the hill neighborhood's right up there where you can go into.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we did an event up there.
So this has gone from how to conveniently prepare spiritually for the what some would say mythological return of deity to all of a sudden like game theorying.
Look, I'm saying
the best place in Utah to live so that you can fight off the mobs that are coming to
before Christ comes, it's going to be a nightmare. And by the way, we have to the levees and the part of the mountain that gets you from Vegas to Utah.
Oh my God!
You know that part of the mountain where you have to go through like the really like the rickety. You know what I'm talking about.
We are not.
You gotta blow it up.
Endorsing.
No, you do.
We're not.
You gotta blow it
endorsing.
up because those Vegas whores are gonna try to come and take our resources. They're
you
burning
realize-
our women and they're raping our houses. We're gonna make sure, burn it down, destroy it so they can't come. They're on their own. We can protect Utah and the Idaho ones.
No,
they're gonna,
no. I'll tell you
we'll be
right
fine
now.
with them.
No,
And
I'll
of
tell you right
course, this is only in the
now.
hypothetical.
California will first off, this idea that it will be a Utah-centric faith when the apocalypse happens is absolute garbage. There are more stronger members with better resources, bigger resources, more land, more places to eat, survive, so on and so forth in California and the West Coast.
Californians don't have basements.
Bruh,
They don't have basements full of food
By that
storage.
time, you guys will be underwater. What are you talking about? You're all gonna drown. There's no. You're not.
We'll have beachfront property in Layton, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so again,
We got the U2 little
this is-
spider
this-
arena thing that we're gonna be sniping people out of.
Okay, no, I want to hear from Ed though.
this is
Ed
all
has more
fu-
experience
hold
than all of us
on.
combined.
For all of our enemies who have no senses of humor and try and clip all this crap, this is all in good fun.
No. This
game
is dead
theory.
serious, Cardin.
I legitimately
We are
believe
not
everything I'm saying.
endorsing any kind of direct action against infrastructure.
When the zombies come, I will the levee that leads from Vegas to Utah.
There
We will
is
not
no
have-
levy.
There is.
Quick, how?
Holding back what?
Part of that mountain. It's that part of the mountain where you're trying to get from Vegas to Utah. You got to go through this rickety mountain
What's
thing.
it holding back?
You're gonna personally go up there?
I will. They will not be able to get to the high desert. It will be. I will not
If
let
even-
those Vegas demons come into my righteous and pure state.
There are some very good people in Las Vegas.
Yeah, like have you been to Henderson? Have you been to like
Henderson, the Burns family, the
Look,
Burns
it's their
family.
fault
Come
for
on.
living there. Okay, they should have chose wiser. I'm gonna make
I
sure my
feel like-
friends in Kaysville are safe.
you have only ever been to the Las
Frickin-
Vegas Strip and
Any-
you think that's what it all is?
Any dude who spent 20 years pretending to be Elvis on the street is not coming into Utah when the apocalypse happens. I guarantee you that right now. I'm all shook up. You're gonna be. Get out of here.
Okay,
Okay,
so
Ed.
Ed, as a man who's protected high-value targets, especially religious high-value targets, what do you say? Where do we go wrong? Is there anything that we say wrong?
So far, Probably not. I do have a little bit different paradigm. Can I real quick tell you an anecdote from the
70s?
roughly March 2019 to last year, when here in LA everything was totally shut down. Between the governor and I mean, we couldn't meet at church.
Yeah, exactly.
It was awful. So a lot of stuff, supply chain shortages were rough. Jacob, we would have used you here in LA to fix all that, since you're the supply chain guy. But it was common for me to talk to all my neighbors. Slight preface. So we've had sister missionaries ever since the age drop in my ward, and I'm one of the unique guys that have sister missionaries on my Google Street View photograph on my
Knocking
porch.
on your door.
Just there.
Twice.
Nice.
So it's a great place, and we've had a lot of missionaries there. So coming and going, we'd have discussions. I've been the mission leader for about 5 years. Discussions in my back porch with the sister missionaries. So sisters coming and going constantly, all day, pretty much. And so
Your neighbors think you're running like a religious harem or something.
So this
Oh
is
my gosh.
and this is the connection. I think I don't think they ever did until the supply chain problems began, and we couldn't get alcohol or hydrogen peroxide and a lot of food and a lot of stuff. So I would go around to my neighbors and ask them if they needed any food or alcohol. And by about the third time of asking them if they needed alcohol, 100% of them would say, "I thought you Mormons didn't drink." So they were hearing me say liquor, and I was obviously saying alcohol. So that's
Well, dude, there's a lot of solid science that's been put into some serious prepping think tanks and studies that say even if
Matches.
you don't smoke, even if you don't smoke and you don't drink, stock up on alcohol and
Everclear.
well, malt liquor lasts longer. So stock up on alcohol and on cigarettes, because in the bartering capability of those things, if traditional fiat currency fails, is like the hugest. So here's mine. And yes, I've studied this out a ton too, brother. But I've also lived through this. I remember when we had to be given bottles of water as school children walking home because there was no water mains left into our city.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, and there's still bottles. Google this: Anheuser-Busch California earthquake water. So desperate was this scenario for potable water in order to take showers and flush that everybody had to drain their pools, and to drink some of the only uncontaminated potable water before they got all the water mains working was in the silos of Anheuser-Busch Bud Light. They actually had water there. And as a service to the community, I mean, bless Bud Light for this, they actually they got the city somehow to get their and they had their own generators, so they were able to get their silos and their bottling plants working to such a degree that they bottled in beer bottles just the pure water. Tasted kind of not the greatest, like it came out of a nasty steel tank, but it was in Anheuser-Busch bottles that were clear with a little Anheuser-Busch top, but it said water on it. And we would get a 6-pack of water from Anheuser-Busch at my elementary school on the walk home, according to how many people you had in your family. And to this day, there's some people here that just like have them in their garage as a souvenir of the Northridge quake of 92 or 94.
Oh, wow.
But like some of the only potable water that people drank for days was actually Anheuser-Busch bottled water that was meant to go in with the barley and the hops of whatever they were making that week, but they drained the silos. So here's my deal. First thing, 85% of the population destroys itself in the first 3 days, fighting over perceived resource scarcity and water. So if you can straight up last those 72 hours with just water, then boom shakalaka, you're already ahead of 85% of the population. Then after that, if you've got enough agua for the 2 or 3 gallons a day that a person needs for the entire family. You got enough water for the next 2 or 3 years. You survive like 95% of them, simply because we use an excessive amount of water with food storage that requires water to mix. We don't realize it. You only need like a half gallon yourself, or, you know, a gallon yourself for other activities, you know, but then boom, if you've got enough that you can start giving away, boom shakalaka. And that's where my family was during the earthquake. My dad, for years preceding the quake of 92, at least 2 years, every time he finished a 2-liter bottle of soda, back then when 2-liter bottles were also more formidable, he would go to the sink, he would fill it up with water, he'd take 2 drops of chlorine bleach, stick it in there, wrap Teflon tape on the top, and then cinch down that lid and then go stick it in our garage. And the whole wall of our garage lined up with 2-liter bottles filled with water that were 100% potable and store for like a decade or something absurd like that. Okay. And so when the earthquake happened and everybody's water was shut off, he had the gas shut up valve and he turned off everybody's gas on our entire block. Okay. And then when water started getting scarce, there was a woman in our ward who was our piano teacher that lived only 8 blocks down. And they started wondering, do we have enough potable water for our formula? Because they didn't realize how much you have to mix baby formula with the powder. They had plenty of formula, but they lacked water. So we were able to go to our garage and give her every day 2 or 3 of these 2 or 3 liter bottles of water for baby formula. And I mean, we ended up being okay within a couple of weeks in LA. Within a couple of weeks, everything was reestablished. Okay. But man, it was a type and shadow of all of the visions that all of these prophets have seen of the freaking latter days and how it's going to go. And the power of that bottle of water when somebody's thirsty or worried about their baby or worried about X, Y, or Z thing is more powerful than $100 bill.
Well, so I really, really, really want just a small little tiny home with a big barn. And I want an underground aspect of the big barn where I keep just enough food and water to feed like a town. I just want it all there. And I'm going to have an illegal amount of weapons. Illegal amount of weapons. And anybody who comes in, I'm going to do like the Pennywise the Clown sign as you walk. And you got to like go through the woods, through the hills to get there. But a big sign that says, if you try, you die. And they go, this guy's going to mess
Or if you can read this sign, you are within range.
If you
can
notice,
Oh
like,
my gosh.
and then but look, I'm preparing for
Again, we are not endorsing.
I am. You got to be prepared. Have you read John Taylor's Vision of the Apocalypse?
Yes.
Where the moms are eating their own babies and drinking their blood in the streets. It's dark, dude. We know it's coming. We got to be tough. We got to be strong. I'm going to buy a lot of alcohol too, because I know when food gets scarce, people will rather take alcohol than they'll take food. Because people drink and smoke to get away from their menial
reliever.
problems from where they're working in an office. When shiz hits the fan and they really cannot even contemplate it, they're going to want to just completely go off. And I'm like, fine, give me this food. You can have this alcohol. I'm not tempted. I don't drink it. Vapes, vape pens, dab pens, alcohol, all that. I'm going to buy thousands of dollars worth of it. And I'm going to trade people.
I'm starting
and I'll
to
use their
realize-
vices against them. I will get their good products, and I will live in my cabin alone away.
Are you the
So
reason?
you're like the bad smoker in Waterworld that's just handing out cigarettes in order to maintain control over the population.
Are you the reason we had a toilet paper shortage?
When COVID hit, I went. Am I allowed to say this? Is it illegal to say what I did?
I don't know.
No, there are no laws against it yet.
You've literally said you're going to put the levy in between Utah and Las Vegas.
I went to the Macy's
in game theory.
in Provo, right before the day I did our last like thing before COVID hit. I knew it was coming. I bought an obscene amount of toilet paper and plastic utensils, and I say
Oh
an
my gosh.
obscene amount.
Quaker?
Like 3 full cars worth.
No. No. So I would say anybody who's listening that
I filled an empty room at the Village with it, dude.
Oh my
I
God.
literally had so much.
So I would say a wiser way to approach this would be like Cardin's dad was doing, like every day or every once in a while for like over the months and years, you do a little bit, right? So when you're going out and doing your normal shopping, throw in an extra thing of toilet paper and start stocking up a little bit at a time so that you don't have people like all rushing stores at once right before things happen and then nothing's there except Dasani water. Do you want to know? So when the
No one
earthquake,
bought that.
no one
Why?
did.
Because all the hipsters are going to be so desperate, it'll be better than alcohol. I don't want them to see me in the zombie apocalypse. without my
So
Dasani.
here's the weird thing: when that earthquake happened in Utah, and the Angel Moroni dropped his trumpet and everything, right? Like, which symbolism. But I went to the store to like get a couple of things for my family, and as I was going through, it was hilarious. I went through the aisles, and the water was all gone. Except the Dasani. Like, Dasani water was just sitting there and no one wanted it. It's like, we're desperate, but we're not that desperate, you know? Like,
Dasani is trash. It's not good water.
it was really
that
funny.
was kind of when Dasani first came out. It was pretty kind of like the artisan.
Well, that is
No,
definitely gone.
Now with Life Water and Smart Water, Evian, all that stuff, yeah, nobody wants to. But
Bottled at a municipal source.
It's like gross.
Here's what you
Dasani
gotta do,
tastes
though.
bad.
You got to be following the independent journalists and underground sites that I follow.
Oh, gosh.
Because everybody got the cue that it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. We got to go tomorrow and get stuff. I was the guy that went 2 days before everyone. I was like, all right, it's gonna happen. We got to go now. So just be ahead of the curve, because by the time
Or just be ahead of Kwaku.
by the time the mainstream news reports it, that's when everyone's gonna go. You've got to literally just beat them to it.
And see, that's where I
Also,
think
buy a lot of meat and freeze it.
in fact, do that now. Buying a lot of meat and freezing it would be good because look at the way prices are skyrocketing.
Yeah.
The price of chicken has gone up so much recently. But yeah, if you got a deep freeze,
wonder why.
fill that up.
Oh, because they're burning down the chicken plants?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a weird thing.
Yeah,
That is
the
weird.
whole stopping the avian flu.
Bill Gates, I will eat your ass.
But yeah, so I think we've had some pretty
Yeah, this was
fantastic
effective.
stuff said. Some really weird stuff said.
Yeah. So again, just
Also,
so we know,
learn-
this is game theory of the fictitious zombie apocalypse that will never happen.
It will.
but will look a lot like the Jesus one that will happen.
It'll be zombie parasite worms, by the way.
Start learning how to train wild animals. Here's what I mean by that. You can literally
like what,
go
an
to
elephant? Like
No,
a Barnum and Bailey elephant with a sword.
start
going into-
learning how to train like foxes and stuff. And if you can learn how to train a bear, you will be the toughest guy in the village.
What?
Or, dude,
If you can have bears doing your bidding,
Foxes and bears?
yeah.
befriend some crows.
Do you
But
know
friend
how
the
much
crows,
meat
right?
it would take to Pavlovian train and condition a bear to know how to do tricks lethal enough to actually inflict fear on other humans around you?
I'm saying I'm
you
gonna
might
have-
as well just hang out in the mountains and eat it.
I'm gonna have 3 bears on chains guarding my property. So when they come and they just see bears going, well, they'll go, holy crap!
So you're gonna be like the chick in The Walking Dead that had the 2 zombies with chains around their necks and the mouths taken out so they couldn't bite her. You know what I'm saying? That she walked around with.
I didn't watch it.
I
That
didn't
shit
even.
creeped me out.
How far into the seasons did you have to get to see?
like
Oh,
crazy
I've
crap
seen
like that.
everything. I've seen everything of The Walking Dead, my man. I've seen everything. Anyway, I'm getting a call. It's official. We gotta go. Any last words?
No, your morning show, I miss it tremendously.
Okay. Cool.
Just wanted to say that. It was great waking up to you.
All right.
Okay,
Awesome. All right.
we'll get it back.
We'll get it back.
Yeah.
This is Midnight Mormon. See you guys in the next podcast.